question asked, how is our children learning?
My fellow Americans.
Corporations are people, my friend.
Our country is in serious trouble.
I never sent any classified material.
Man is not free unless government is limited.
Bringing you opinions on historic, current, and international politics. Welcome to the Unnamed Political Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the 11th episode of the Unnamed Political Podcast. I'm your host, Jack Horvath.
I'm your host, Scot Walker.
And today we'll be talking about a series of issues going on domestically and around the world.
Alright, so we're going to be talking about Scot Walker dropping out of the GOP race and who we think may be next, what this could instill for the race in general. We're then going to be talking about the up-and-coming second placers in the GOP race, and I guess to a lesser extent, the Democratic race. And specifically Ben Carson and Carly Fiorina, amongst others. And then finally we'll be discussing how the media may be playing a role in the coming election. Alright, let's take it away.
So first off, Scot Walker drops out of the race. This was recent news. This was probably a day or two ago.
Yes.
Yeah, he dropped out.
It was a shock, though, I'll say.
I was surprised. It wasn't my first choice.
Oh, no, I thought he was, he was leading the pack, I believe, in July.
Back in July, but then after the first debate, he kind of went down, and then the second debate didn't really help him at all, and now he dropped out, suspended his campaign, probably because of financial problems. He probably couldn't pay the offices in wherever primary states.
His donors were leaving him left and right. In fact, I think his biggest donor stated that he at the time was going to consider supporting other candidates.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign.
He wasn't. I didn't really like him that much. He just wasn't appealing to me.
I agree.
There's plenty of other candidates that
I said it before, he just wasn't that invigorating, I guess you could say.
It was kind of boring. He was kind of plain. He was kind of plain.
Well, yeah, and I know that shouldn't be a reason to get out, but in this race you need something to stand out. I think that's what's really hurting Jeb.
Especially when there's 17 candidates.
Yeah, I think that's, again, one of the reasons that Donald's doing so well, because, I mean, whether or not you like him or not, which we don't like him, he at least has a very distinct air about him, I can say. Walker just didn't have, he just seemed like such a run-of-the-mill guy, and he also, due to his fact that he was, I would say, more of a mediocre-esque governor, he didn't have a ton to say, like Jeb has been able to consistently refer back to his record, but Scott just didn't have that.
All he did was crush labor unions, and that's not a terrible thing.
It's not terrible, but again, if you are attempting to win over the the undecided voters, having only really one kind of major thing that I guess is really pointing to, and that major thing being more of a, I won't say controversial, but I guess less of a, I don't know how to say this, but it's more of a very, right-wingers love this, but left-wingers, and to some extent more independents, are like, yeah.
He was one of the more conservative candidates, though.
Yeah, I will say that. He definitely
the moderates,
was.
he didn't really appeal to me as a moderate. And I don't think he appealed to the moderates as well. He was just, I felt he was a little too conservative for me.
You thought he was too conservative?
I mean, yeah, probably. He was one of the most conservative ones. I think just the way he handled the labor unions and all the economic problems.
So you're pro-union?
Well, not pro-union, but the way he did it, he proclaims that he crushed the labor unions, which makes it seem
a little too aggressive.
You could say I helped stop some labor unions from, taking over some aspects.
But do you think that would have made him seem wimpier? In the same way that people are saying Jeb just kind of seems like he's not, on a lot of issues, not willing to take a definitive stance?
Well, I think he would have appealed more to moderates if he stated that, because the super right-wing conservative group of people is only so big. And when you're trying to get the majority, because it is a presidential election, you have to be able to secure those voters, and I don't think he did a good job of that.
That's one of the things, like when we're going to get to Ted Cruz later, why I don't think he will ever be able to, obviously, win the general election, simply for the same reason Donald and, I guess, Walker couldn't, because they just are you need to be moderate.
It's a Tea Party.
Overall, you can't win if you're too far left. Or too far right, or too far left.
Or too far left, that's true.
That's why I think Bernie, he will not be able to
get the nomination, definitely not.
Because I feel like the majority of people who are really like, oh, I love Bernie Sanders, are kind of uninformed about what his policies actually entail.
Right.
And they're just supporting him because Hillary is currently not very supportable, and they want to support a Democrat.
Yeah. I bet you 50% of those people don't even know that he's an independent, but he's Democrat, or he's with the caucus of the Democrats.
Well, he is running as a Democrat in this election, sort of.
He's running as an independent in the Democratic caucus, so I guess technically he's a Democrat, but I don't think many people know that he's an independent, and more, he's basically a socialist.
Well, no, he's not basically. He literally is is.
He's a democratic
States,
socialist.
he is a democratic socialist.
Democratic socialist. So who do you think will drop out next? Out of, I mean, the Republican.
Next. So I did not think we would see Walker dropping out until much later in the race. I was thinking for some people who I might consider. I originally thought Rand Paul might be, but now after seeing him in the second debate, I think he realizes he's not going to win, obviously, but he's at least going to try. I think he'll stay in for as long as he can to kind of at least push his libertarian viewpoint for as long as he can. So I think he'll do that. But I would say maybe Huckabee I could possibly see suspending his campaign.
I was thinking of all the candidates, like
all of them?
well, no, for the Republican, race, like all the 17, like not just in the the big debate, but the little one they had. So I was thinking Rick Santorum would be the next one to drop out.
So yeah, Santorum would probably my second. Like I was just thinking, if you're talking about the big named people, I would say people in the big debate, yeah. And in the junior debate, I can definitely see Santorum.
I don't think Graham will drop out until later.
You don't think Graham will?
I think he's determined. I think he has a lot of self-confidence.
He's definitely determined. And with that, I kind of stated before that I think he was kind of a bit of a, just seemed like he was really epic, but at least he, from reading some things, he's not a complete idiot, and he knows his things, so he might be, obviously, I think if he might stay in longer, because I think he would like to see himself possibly get a place in the future, ideally if a Republican gets elected their cabinet, but aside from that, I don't really see him.
Well, if we're talking about the junior candidates, I don't think Bobby Jindal's going to drop out anytime soon.
Bobby Jindal, he's on the work. He's really seems to think he's the new Carly Fiorina, I guess.
Which he's not. I think he did okay in the debates,
I think
but I don't think that's going to bring him
he
up
was
at all.
one of the strongest people there out of all four of them.
Him or Graham, I think did okay.
Taki, do you think he'll?
He's just not. No one knows him. He has virtually no name recognition at all.
Yeah, I will give that. He is almost.
I do kind of like him. He's a moderate, right?
He's definitely a moderate. So I think that's good. At the debate, I don't think he would say one. I think that would go to Bobby Jindal for just because he was so aggressive. But I think at least he was he was definitely moderate. He was able to push his viewpoints relatively well, and I think that at least gave him maybe a second choicer position for some people.
And I mean, he was the governor of New York, so he does have experience, and he was a Republican in a mostly liberal state when it comes to New York City.
The Northeast, of course. We can tell you from experience, it is quite a liberal location.
Practically socialist.
Actually, that is true.
In Vermont, yeah.
Yeah. But so, all right, I think we've addressed that reasonably well. Now, so the up-and-coming second placers in the race, obviously, the two big-name people are Ben Carson and Carly Fiorina, the neurosurgeon and the former CEO of HP.
Right.
So, clearly, after the second debate, if you saw the polls, Trump went down a little bit, but he didn't go down all the way. But Carly, she went from being not even in the, I guess if we wanted to kind of say the junior team, the varsity team, JV versus just varsity. Yeah, she moved up, and she is shot from almost virtually zero anybody even knowing who she was in the beginning of the race to now being a very strong possible presidential nominee once hopefully Trump drops out.
Definitely, I think she's doing well. I don't know if this is going to be a permanent thing, her being at the top. All these outsiders, I don't think are going to last.
I feel it is. We're still too early for it to.
Exactly, it's going to be the establishment who wins, guaranteed.
Okay.
We all know Bush is going to get the nomination.
You think Bush is hands down going to get it?
100%. Trump's going to drop.
Bush to get it.
She's going to skyrocket.
I don't see Bush. I'm starting to get a little nervous about Jeb.
Once they find Trump's true intentions, I don't think it'll be long before he drops out.
I think his true intention. He's been totally open about his true intentions, and approximately 32% of Republicans are happy with it. But I think what will eventually happen is once more and more, hopefully, I hope this is one of the things that if you want to go back to Walker a little bit, he stated he's in his speech that he may have been foreordained to kind of lead people to kind of narrow the field, because I think that's now the hope of more moderate Republicans, is, and even though you've said he's more of a conservative, but in terms of more moderate Republicans, to try to narrow it down to the point where a moderate, or a more moderate, possibly Jeb or Kasich could then step in and be able to beat Trump.
Yeah.
Because right now, obviously, Trump doesn't have a majority of the support. He just has the most.
The most of any other candidate, because the field's so big. No, you're right. And I guess if you want to move on.
Well, actually, just if we're talking about second placers, I guess, one of the big ones is obviously Bernie, who seemed like his rise was unstoppable. Now Hillary, she's starting to get back. I would say she's starting to regain control, get her posture back. Let's say.
And that's because of the media.
You think it's well, definitely
not only like the the TVs, but it's also social media. Social media plays a huge part in the elections. I mean, back in 2004.
Oh yes, have you seen her recent thing? I believe it was on Twitter to millennials to complain about college. How college it was. Please tell us how college or college student loan debt, I think, makes you feel in 3 emojis or less.
Was that real?
That was an actual thing. Yes, actually, Stephen Colbert. Again, we just keep talking about him. I'm a fan for the time being.
I like what he's doing.
I think he's been doing pretty good. But yeah, he did a very humorous segment on that. But yeah, so will you be tweeting how student loans make you feel?
No, I won't. In 3 emojis?
Oh yeah, in 3 emojis or less.
It would take more than that.
Clearly, that shows she considers millennials to be intelligent, well-thought, and well-spoken individuals.
Describe your life in 3 emojis.
Smiley face.
No, but seriously, social media and the media in general.
I think they've definitely
playing a
been
huge
really
part in this
trying
election.
to. Yeah,
It's gonna be huge.
I'm not saying I don't want to be part of the whole conspiracy thing, where you're like, oh, it's the media's manipulating the events. But I think definitely the media is really trying to kind of put Hillary back on top, I could say. Not all of it, of course, but some. Definitely people are trying to definitely play up Hillary and again play up Donald Trump, because obviously any attention Donald Trump gets hurts more conservative candidates.
Right.
Overall.
Well, I think the liberal media really didn't like Hillary back in 2008. They really liked Obama. I think they really liked Obama. And then back in 2016, they have now in 2016.
Yeah, Back to the Future.
They don't have anyone else besides Hillary, so like, oh well, we need a Democratic candidate. Let's support Hillary. And that's what's happened. They haven't talked about her like they talk about Donald Trump, for sure.
They haven't. Donald Trump has definitely been getting a lot more attention, but hopefully I think it's going to start to roll back now that people are starting to say he doesn't. He's not a complete idiot. I'll give him that. I don't think he's completely idiotic. Right. I think he's very. He's definitely not the smartest candidate there by a very long shot.
Definitely. And
yeah, I clearly just seen by his policies, but I mean also he's and clearly he doesn't know very much about foreign policy, which is also one of his big drawbacks.
Definitely.
Yeah, but with Hillary, I guess we want to just kind of briefly talk about her. One of the complaints of the her 3 emoji less is the fact that she hasn't really been able to explain her opinions in mere words, as was stated again by Colbert. Man, we were ripping him off.
I like Colbert.
But with the Keystone Pipeline was a clear example of when she was just completely unable to give an answer on it. When somebody said, yes or no, do you support the pipeline? And she said something along the lines of, well, that's a decision for President Obama, and I will address that issue if it has not been decided by the time I am elected president. If I'm elected president, then that sort of thing, or just no clear answers given.
Right.
But now today, she has now stated that she does not support the Keystone Pipeline.
Which everyone knew.
But still, I can't see, in my opinion, a huge reason to not support the pipeline. I know people like the environmental issue is a big thing.
I mean, think about it.
But it's so, actually I may be able to pull this up, it is, and I know people are like, oh, if you say it's just something insignificant, it's a little like it's a snowball effect, but when you're talking about making such a big deal over something that the benefits of which will so greatly outweigh the negative things,
huge economic benefits. We'll lose dependency on the Middle East, which is huge, and we'll gain hundreds, maybe even thousands of jobs from this pipeline being constructed and maintained. So I think it's a great idea. I don't know why I guess environmental concerns are a huge factor.
It increases
it
the
doesn't
amount
make
of
any
pipelines
sense.
by less than 1%, I believe.
It's one pipeline.
I don't know if any of you can see this, but please look these facts up. Here are all the pipelines that you can see on the U.S. I'm not sure how the cameras
bring that
pick
up to
this
the
up. Yeah, well, basically, I'll just state if we can.
There's a lot of pipelines.
We have it is so insignificant in the long run that to state that, oh, this is going to destroy the environment. Not that we're saying, like, again, we don't want to seem like we're doing the snowball effect, where it's like, oh, just a little bit here, a little bit there, but the benefits of it are just, it's
huge. It doesn't make any sense.
In my opinion, there's no good reason to it. Now, although I do think that her just taking a stance on the environment is not a terrible thing for her campaign, I think it's something more modern Republicans definitely need to do.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree
Now,
with you.
but you, on the other hand, have taken quite a conservative stance when it comes to global warming and climate change. Much more conservative than I think mine is.
It doesn't exist.
I still
It doesn't
can't
exist.
believe.
If you have facts to prove that it exists, that we're causing it. That's the point, that we're causing it. If you can prove that we're causing it, which you can't. You can't. What do you think?
I think that I don't think so. Again, I will be the first to say this. I am not an expert on climate. I am in no way a meteorologist.
Leave the science to the scientists.
No, but when you're saying a majority of scientists believe that climate change exists, and with that, but now in my opinion, I'm not sure it's as intense as many people are stating it, and that it's, oh, the world's going to end and that sort of thing. But I do think we do need to kind of take care of our environment simply because it has natural resources which we use, which benefit economies and that sort of thing. If I want to go full on, if you take the book behind you, the Machiavellian
Which one is this?
on this, The Prince. If you
Oh,
want to go
God.
full on Machiavellian here, if you just support it because in the long term it benefits you monetarily, that is Niccolo Machiavelli, author of The Prince. But I just that's one reason. If that's the only reason you'll support it, but still, I think that's a reason to support it in general. But so you said you wanted to move on a while ago. And
Oh, yeah.
prevent you from doing so.
So we got a controversial remarks. Ben Carson, a clear frontrunner, an outsider. I think he's doing second best in the polls right now, or third best. It's probably
Yeah, if you're in it, it's now starting to.
in between them.
Yeah, it depends which polls you're checking.
He said in an interview with Meet the Press that a Muslim cannot be president.
I'm not sure he said that it couldn't be. I thought he said that he didn't think the country was ready for it.
No, I think he said cannot be president.
Okay, would you care? How about I'll look
I can
that
talk
up.
about it.
Yeah, I'll look up the quotes right now.
So, I partially agree with him.
You do not think a Muslim should be president?
I think a Muslim can be president. A Muslim can be president if he puts the Constitution before his religious values. Because
Okay.
honestly, if we have a full-on Muslim,
A full-on Muslim.
a radical
So you
Muslim, a
prefer
radical
light-
Muslim.
Okay, there we go.
If we have a radical
That's
Muslim
the
running
point.
this country, and he puts his religion before the Constitution, and he institutes, this is going to sound crazy, Sharia law or some aspects, because, no, look at this. Most, name countries with Muslim leaders or a Muslim government, you got Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, hugely oppressive on women. So, and there's Sharia, that's cruel, the penal code is crazy. And all the countries like Pakistan, they have terrorist organizations developing, and, I mean,
I'm not saying, of course, if we had a radical Muslim as president, that would be horrible, because, and I think that's
it's not
one
in line with our
of the key
values.
things that needs to be, well, not just in line with our values, just in line with reasonable values of over oppressing
The
women,
government, yeah.
brutally murdering people who disagree with your opinions.
Right.
I think if people complain that we're partisan now, but he has now stated, though, that Ben has stated that he can support a Muslim president, and he was suggesting that a Muslim wouldn't be fit to serve based on, obviously what you said, if they were going to put their beliefs ahead of the Constitution, in that sense. Now, I have no problem with a Muslim as being president, again, as long as they are willing to say, I understand what my beliefs are, and I understand what the law is, and I'm not going to let those
No, I 100% agree with you
Yeah, yeah.
on that point. I 100% agree with you.
Like, obviously, if your beliefs fit within the law, then of course, but if your beliefs violate the law, then there we go.
Yeah, then you can't have that because our country's not, our government doesn't go in line with with Islam.
Well, no, I wouldn't say not with Islam, with radical Islam, I'll say.
With radicalism, yeah.
Because
I
obviously
agree
depends
with
on your
that.
interpretation of the Quran and Islamic teachings in general.
Right. No, I agree with you on that point. 100%.
Okay, so I guess we addressed that. We may address it further in another episode. But now on with another just kind of topic we might move on, though we said finally we will. How media do you think will play a role? Because we've addressed Mr. Colbert quite a lot. But and he has obviously just had three, I believe, of the, or actually quite a few of the presidential candidates. His first guest, or his second guest on a show ever was Jeb Bush. He's had Bernie Sanders. He's had Trump. He had Trump last night, I believe. He's had Ted Cruz.
Joe
Both
Biden.
the arena's been on. He's had Joe Biden, who still isn't technically running.
He is.
You
I think he'll
you
run.
think he's going to run?
I would love if he ran, actually.
I would be-
probably vote for him if it was Trump
You would
versus
vote for
Biden.
him.
If it was Trump versus Biden, probably.
I would not, because what I think would happen, I would vote for Trump, and only because I guarantee you he will. only be able to be president for maybe a year before he does something that will force him to resign, and I'm hoping if he has a vice president, it'll at least be a reasonable person.
You don't think Trump will do that?
I think, well, I mean, no, I mean, if it comes worse, I think he would definitely do something possibly impeachable very early in his term, so...
Trump would. I would agree with that, 100%.
I can completely see him being impeached, so I would only vote for him because I'm assuming you can't get worse than Trump, so it's not like he's vice president. Unless you pull Sarah Palin out of retirement. So you're going to pull Sarah Palin out of retirement for this?
Sarah Palin presidency?
That would be, I might consider voting for Joe.
First female president.
Yeah. But so with it, how do you think, so we've already discussed how we think the media, the media's really been helping Hillary, but do you think that, because obviously each year, in 2008 they said, oh, the media's been bigger than ever before, then in 2012, and now in 2016, it just keeps exponentially getting greater and greater, the role that social media and regular media, how do you think it's going to be changing the way we view presidential elections?
I think, because, back in, again, 2008, 2012, 2016, we didn't really use social media as much as we do now. I mean, 2012, yeah, we did a decent amount.
Yes.
And 2008, yeah, a little bit. We used Facebook, I'm sure. I'm sure some of the candidates did. And 2016, I mean, we have people, for the debates, we have people calling in from Google Plus to ask questions.
And it just shows how interconnected it is. I mean, if we wanted to, we could have called, or I'm not sure if they would have listened to us being kids, but anybody, it's just so much bigger than I guess ever before. Obviously, on your phone, you can now follow any one of the candidates on any social media site, and
right, and even
a number of things. You can see so much more into the candidates you like, though.
And you have to have any candidate running has to have a social media account, and you have to be somewhat integrated with social media, or you won't last.
You won't be able to.
You have to be able to learn.
This isn't just an appealing to millennials thing. It's just simply the fact that it's no longer a thing only used by kids. Everybody uses it.
Exactly.
Now we sound old for saying that, but...
So, you got old people like Sanders using it.
Yeah.
You'd never imagine using it, but they use it because they need to stay in line with what's going on. They need to be able to connect to their voters.
But I do think that with media and this, it does, though, due to the fact that I feel it's getting a lot more partisan. We're now having clearly Fox News versus, I guess, the liberal media, I'll say.
Right.
But now people, never before have they had more access to media, but people are almost always choosing to hear the media that agrees with them, which I think can lead to the problem of people getting kind of, misinformed. I think if you only watch the Fox News, you're not going to be able to get a great impression of what liberal candidates support, or even what Republican candidates support in general. It's the same thing if you only watch MSNBC or something.
Well, I think the news is no longer, you get the newspaper, you get the New York Times or something. Although people can, use that online.
Well, yeah, obviously. My dad studies New York Times.
But I think the news is more now, it's just people on social media talking about things. And
that's the other thing. You no longer really need credentials to get, because it used to be, if you want to be able to get your opinion out there, a news site, or a newspaper, had to say, okay, what are your credentials now? You're a Harvard professor or something.
Right.
One of whom is actually running for the Democratic nomination.
Lawrence Lessig.
I love his glasses.
I like
look at a picture of him. He has the best Harry Potter glasses. But it used to be, no one would listen to you unless you had your opinion. But now, anybody could. We could start an account now, and we could probably give the impression that we're extremely well-educated people who went to the Ivy League university or something like that.
Right.
But there's absolutely nothing you need to make you. I mean, you can now come on talk shows because you're a social media commentator. So you talk about Facebook.
And if we say something ridiculous and we had enough traction, people might actually agree with it, even when we don't mean it. That's the crazy part about social media.
Donald Trump.
Exactly. No.
But it's the thing. You no longer need credentials. You just need to seem like you have credentials.
Yeah, and you need to have, I guess, a decent enough traction so that you can spread your message.
So yeah, this is what we support. Don't just listen to one voice. Listen to many. So yeah,
good credentials.
Yeah, that's a good place to stop off.
Yeah, I think this is like a normal length pod. This is 30 minutes.
So this is good. Yeah. All right, we apologize. It was a little long. Feel free to skip around and listen to what you liked or didn't like.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to hopefully have an episode up, or another episode up that we're going to be filming next on a couple of other topics. We'll address those later. But so yeah, the podcast is going pretty well.
Yeah. Anything else? I mean,
We have a possible Iran nuclear deal episode in the works, just on other social issues, just in general. We're going to be talking about Pope Francis, as he is currently in the U.S. right now,
that's true.
amongst other issues. And I think that pretty much covers it. We're going to be hopefully expanding as one of your ideas.
A random podcast. We'll just talk about random stuff. And the
Listen to it
set,
if you want. Listen to it if you want.
set will be a bar.
Yes.
It'll be a bar. It'll look cool. Don't
No
worry.
drinking, though.
No, definitely
None at all.
drinking. Not in my house.
Yes. Well, nowhere, hopefully.
Hopefully nowhere. Until I'm 21.
And for me, never. But, okay. We're all right. So I think that covers everything.
That's
Please
good.
tell us what you thought about the podcast. Leave any comments, questions, critiques in the comment section below. And please subscribe. That should be below in the description.
Follow our Instagram page at Unnamed Political Podcast. It's a cool page. Just updates.
Yes. Beautiful. Yeah, all right. So I think that covers everything. I'm Clark Walburger.
I'm Jack Horvath.
Bye.
See you next time.
So, he's